So that was pretty disturbing, right? As you can see from these news stories that I've pulled out, the mother that had her child perform like this caught a lot of heat, and it was actually used against her in a custody battle. So here is a good example of outside press being informed by what went on the show, so that those two worlds are not mutually exclusive. What happens on the show can be picked up in the press, and the press can run with something that occurred on Toddlers and Tiaras. So the takeaways from what Hernandez has to say about Toddlers and Tiaras is that girls are put on display and modeled for others' consumption on Toddlers and Tiaras. Um, Young girls' parents subject them to extreme body modification. The kind of femininity that is on display on this show is artificial, imposed, regimented, and practiced. What Hernandez says is ultimately it's not normal. It's not natural. The femininity presented on the show really does teach a lesson, not necessarily a positive lesson, but teaches a lesson for young girls on how to be feminine, especially within that post-feminist sensibility. Ultimately, one of the takeaways from the show is that femininity is articulated through these methods, the illusion of choice, high levels of consumption, and really putting oneself out on display to be judged. Why this show is particularly called into question, I would say, is because of the age of the participants. Much of this kind of argument is also presented relative to adult beauty pageants, but this show is made even more problematic because we're talking about children, and in many cases, really young children.